one of the reasons it's important for me is because I come from the Mexican culture, and living in the U.S., we don't always get the focus that I get here, that I've gotten through taking Spanish classes, taking liberation psychology, critical issues in Mexico, and also the people that I'm surrounded by. It's a group of people that are focused on working in critical issues with Latinos, and that's something that I know that I'm going to be working with in the future. So getting help with my Spanish, getting help with any issues in Latin America that are going to help me with my work in the future.
When I think about working with clients and how this immersion program has affected my session and my meeting a client, it definitely has. It impacted me in various ways. It impacted me as a person. It impacted me in understanding a different way of life in different parts of Mexico, and just connecting human to human and seeing them in the realest form.
So I think that the Mexico City Immersion program is something that is beyond beneficial. I think in an ideal world, something like that would be more of a requirement. Just from the minute that you step foot on the CSPP campus, at least as far as my experience has been in San Francisco, there's a real push for multicultural awareness, competence, and anything along the lines of learning about other cultures, communities, peoples. And I don't think that it's possible to be able to do that within the context of a classroom or within the community that you study in or that you aspire to practice in. It's something that can maybe barely be touched upon by spending time in other communities. If at best, I think that being here provides the first step to becoming aware of what it means to learn about other people's cultures.
The immersion experience has been really valuable for me as well, because it's just given me new appreciation for immigrants and for foreigners, for what they go through every day. For me, being in a foreign country and trying to communicate in a new language and knowing just how difficult that is for me, I have so much respect for anybody who goes to a new country and tries to speak a new language, and it's so difficult, so I really have a lot of appreciation for that.
Well, first I'd like to say that I've really appreciated my experience here in this immersion program. I think going to a new country and experiencing a new culture is a really valuable experience. I think it's that for everybody, and in particular, I think it makes a lot of sense for clinicians, because you're working with people, and the more you can learn about different cultures and different kinds of life experience, I think the better job you can do working with people. And especially if you're working in an area like California, where there's such a high immigrant population. I know there's, like, this last practicum I had was 73% Latino, and I think it can just be so useful to understand a little bit more about the culture and people that you work with.
So to begin with, the education that I received here in Mexico City is different, because I had a native Spanish speaker who was able to explain common mistakes that I make in Spanish, but that somebody that didn't speak Spanish would understand. For example, the words that I use in asking certain questions. There's certain ways to ask questions with certain words that won't be offensive, and there's no way I would have ever gotten that training in the United States. And the second part is that I've been introduced to teachers that I would have never been introduced to, just because they're from privileged institutions. And where I come from, I don't always get the same amount of instruction from the same teachers.
All of the coursework that I've experienced before, at least up to this point at CSPP, has been within the classroom. For example, the last class that we took, Critical Issues in Latin America, was phenomenal. Not only did we have a pair of amazing teachers that were willing to engage and collaborate with us, but we were able to not just study the material and the socio-political context of what they were trying to teach us, but we visited the site, and we were able to have the experience of going to the museum and hearing firsthand of people who had been there, and that's something that isn't available in the U.S. Well, after being here in Mexico, taking the classes I did, staying with the families I did, talking to the people that I interacted with, it's almost impossible to go back home, when going back home to remain or go back to your old ways. I mean, it's undeniable, this sense of needing to change.
So how does it make me a better therapist? I worked for 6 years after I got my master's degree, and I always knew I wanted to go back to school, but I was always looking for the right school to go to. And when I went back to school, I still had the feeling in my doctorate program that I wasn't getting the education that I wanted, that I needed, that I was screaming for. And to be able to see this practice that focused in critical issues in Mexico.
Another nice thing about being in an immersion program is that you get to see what it's like to be the other, or out of your comfort zone, where you come to a new country and you may not know the language so well. You don't know where everything is. You don't know what's normal and how people, here it's different, the way people eat. There's a lot of little things that are different from what's usual in the United States. So it can broaden your perspective of what's normal and what's usual, and help understand other people that way. And it can be, very scary to be in a new place, and I think it can help you empathize with people who come to the United States. And an immersion program is great for this because you're not completely on your own. You have lots of people there to support you. You have people helping you get everywhere you need. You have people helping you get your needs met. But you also do get to see what it's like being completely outside of your comfort zone.
One of my favorite parts about being part of this program has been the opportunity to live with a Mexican family here in the city, and it has helped me personally in many ways, which will in turn help me professionally. And the opportunity to get to know the culture this intimately is something amazing, and it has challenged my Spanish-speaking abilities, and just living in the city for a period of 5 weeks forces you to adapt to many situations and learn and be challenged every day, more so than living at home. And I'm really grateful for this.
Okay, the coursework here, the classes have been really eye-opening for me, just because it's a very different perspective, getting the whole framework of the liberation psychologies, and I've been really wanting my classes back home to address some of the broader social issues and contextual, historical, political issues, and they really haven't. So it's been really valuable for me to come down here and learn about Latin American history and their political issues, and get a perspective from outside of the United States about the field of psychology, and talk about some of the issues of class and politics and things like that.
Como una mujer mexicoamericana, se me hace muy importante venir a México a estudiar de mi cultura, de nuestros antepasados. Definitivamente viniendo a estudiar aquí en México impactó mi vida y también impactó cómo trabajo con mis clientes y la manera que veo a nuestra cultura, y me siento muy orgullosa de todo lo que México nos da.